Welcome to the 2016-17 Volleyball Rules video. This video will provide rule changes, updates, and important information about the 2016-17 IESA State Series in Girls Volleyball. My name is Julie Cochran, and I am the Assistant Executive Director and Administrator for Volleyball. If you have any questions throughout the school year, please send me an email at julie@iesa.org. The IESA Board of Directors made several changes to the coaching education requirements for 2016-17. All coaches with your volleyball team must meet these requirements. To serve as a head coach, assistant coach, or volunteer volleyball coach, you must be regularly licensed by ISB as a teacher, administrator, or school service personnel, or be a retired teacher/coach from the IESA or IHSA member school, or be a college student coaching as part of the official teaching assignment, or be certified through an IESA approved coaching education program. In addition to meeting one of the criteria above, a coach must also be a high school graduate or equivalent and officially employed by the school board of the member school. A person with a substitute-only license must complete one of the approved coaching education courses in order to serve as a head coach. High school students may be assigned to assist with the coaching of an athletic team in a member school provided they are under the direct supervision of an individual who meets the coaching education requirement. This means a high school student may never be left alone to run or supervise a practice or match. Any questions concerning coaching education should be directed to myself, Julie@iesa.org. The Youth Sports Concussion Safety Act applies to all public, private, and charter elementary and secondary schools with students enrolled who participate in interscholastic athletic activities. The legislation addresses requirements for schools, students, and coaches. Schools must establish a concussion oversight team. The COT's primary function is to develop a return to play and return to learn protocol for students believed to have experienced a concussion. The COT team can contain a range of individuals based on the resources available to the school in their community or neighborhood, but must include one person who is responsible for implementing and complying with the return to play, return to learn protocols. A school must also establish a school venue emergency action plan for all of its interscholastic activities. Students may not participate in an interscholastic activity until the student and their parent guardian have signed a form acknowledging receiving and reading information that explains concussion prevention, symptoms, treatments, and guidelines for returning to participation. If a student is believed to have suffered a concussion, they must be removed immediately from an interscholastic athletic practice or competition. Upon clearance from a licensed physician to return to the athletic classroom or athletic field, the student's parent or guardian must provide a physician's written report to the school. In addition, a consent form signed by the student's parent or guardian must also be submitted to all head, assistant, volunteer, and high school students serving in assistant coaching role must complete an approved concussion training course every 2 years. The approved concussion courses are as follows. The IHSA and the IESA have developed a course that is available in each of those associations' member centers. This course consists of 2 videos, some supplemental PDFs, and a test. The Illinois Bone and Joint Institute also has an in-person training course that is available to schools. A third additional course that was recently approved through the Global Compliance Network. This organization works with schools on internet test taking, and they now have an approved coaching education course. This information can all be found on the IESA website under concussion information. Coaches must also provide proof of completion of this training course to their schools. If you take the course through the IESA Member Center, this will automatically update the school member center upon completion, and administrators can search for coaches who have completed this course through the IESA Member Center. Resources are available on the IESA and IHSA website for return to play, return to learn, emergency action plans, and general concussion questions. If you have any questions concerning the Concussion Sports Safety Act, please email Nicole at IESA. Prior to the start of the volleyball season, make sure that all your coaches are aware of the change in the unsportsmanlike penalty. A coach who's ejected for unsportsmanlike conduct, the penalty has been increased to 2 games or 2 matches for the first offense and 5 matches for the second offense. The penalty is to be served at the level where the ejection occurred and all other interscholastic contests at any level in the interim. A head coach who is ejected for a 7th grade girls volleyball match is removed for the remainder of that 7th grade match that evening, and ineligible to coach for the 8th grade match that evening, and ineligible for the next 2 7th grade matches and any 8th grade matches conducted in the interim. Also keep in mind, as a reminder, the penalty for a player ejection is the student is ineligible for the next interscholastic contest at the level where the ejection occurred and all other interscholastic contests at any level in the interim. I frequently receive questions concerning varsity and non-varsity or A and B contests. The following guidelines are required at both varsity and non-varsity levels of play. The level of contest should always be designated on the game contract. The start and end of the IESA season applies to both levels. Team limitations and individual player limitations also apply to both levels, and eligibility requirements apply to all participants in IESA volleyball. Your varsity team is considered to be the team which comprise the most skilled competitors in the sport and is the team that with the school's representatives at the highest level of competition, including the IESA state final. Officials for varsity contests must be played with the required number of IHSA licensed officials. In the sport of volleyball, the IESA requires 2 IHSA licensed officials at all varsity level matches. When entering your schedule in the IESA Member Center, only the varsity schedule should be entered. In addition, only the varsity contests count toward the team's required minimum and maximum number of contests. At the non-varsity level, if a contracted official does not show or the school cannot obtain a licensed official for the contest, a coach or faculty member may serve as the official. Also, the format at the non-varsity level, by agreement of participating schools, may be altered or changed. This is only at the non-varsity level. Some state series information concerning volleyball. The 2016-17 dates are available on the IESA website. Regional dates for 7th grade are February 25th, February 27th, February 28th, March 1st and 2nd. The sectional date is March 6th, and the state dates for volleyball 7th grade is March 11th and 14th. The 8th grade regional dates are March 4th and the 7th through the 9th. Keep in mind, if you're hosting an 8th grade regional, you are not permitted to play the 8th grade regional on the 7th grade sectional date of March 6th. Sectional dates for 8th grade are March 13th, and the state dates for the 8th grade state tournament are March 18th and March 21st. Please keep in mind that the sectional start time has changed to 6:30 for all sectional matches. In 2017-18, the state series will have a major change. The tournament will be run on a Friday-Saturday of week 36 for 7th grade and a Friday-Saturday for week 37 for 8th grade. All quarterfinal matches will be played on Friday and semifinal and final matches on Saturday. Please remember that coaches at the IESA State Series should be dressed in appropriate attire. Please make sure when you're completing your pass gate form included in the Volleyball Entry Center for all levels of State Series play that IESA pass cards are no longer accepted, so you must include your administrators on your pass gate form. As you prepare for the IESA volleyball season, first and foremost, read the IESA volleyball terms and conditions. You should be familiar with all the information included in the terms and conditions. Highlighted here are some of the major IESA rules you should be familiar with. Schedule and requirements, uniform guidelines, individual player limitations, and all exceptions to NFHS rules. The NFHS rules are included in the rulebook that was sent in the initial mailing. Make sure you carry your NFHS rulebook with you to all contests. Additionally, make sure that you are familiar with rule changes for the current year. Before practice begins, we highly recommend you conduct a parent meeting that covers team, school, and IESA rules. Make sure that all students have a birth certificate on file and a physical on file with the school before you begin practice. Confirm that all officials hired for your home contest are licensed IHSA officials, and only licensed officials may work regular season and postseason varsity contests. Inspect all your uniforms and make sure they're in compliance with the NFHS rules. The Libero jersey must be a solid colored jersey to meet NFHS rules. There is an available presentation on the volleyball page that goes through pictures of what is a solid colored jersey. We highly recommend as volleyball coaches you make yourself familiar with your school's grade check and eligibility procedures, what date that will be completed on, when you will receive the report of eligibility players, and when they will be ineligible. Also, make sure that your coaching and your staff are in compliance with the coaching certification prior to the start of your season. In addition, make sure all of your coaching staff, including high school students serving as assistants, have completed an approved concussion course before the start of the season. During your season, monitor the number of games that your team has played. Keep in mind that a team may not exceed 22 games for the season. Also, monitor the number of sets that your athletes are participating in per night. The penalty for violating this rule has changed. In addition to the automatic forfeiture of contest, should a student exceed the individual limitation, the coach of the team shall be ineligible to coach for the next 2 interscholastic contests at the level where the violation occurred, and all other interscholastic contests at any level in the interim. Monitor your grade eligibility of your students. Being on top of grade eligibility will help you keep your students eligible for your games in the regular season. Make sure the head coach and captains are attending the pregame conference held by the officials prior to each contest. Per National Federation rules, the head coach must attend this conference, not an assistant. Know the penalties for rule or bylaw violations, and go online through the IESA Member Center in the Volleyball Entry Center and enter your season schedule. Update this information with results throughout the season. When you're completing the online seating, please enter all information by February 13th for 7th grade and February 20th for 8th grade. Again, we highly recommend that you enter all your information in advance for your schedule and just update this as the process goes along. When the ranking step opens, print the roster and season schedule for each team in your regional. Consider the following factors when seeding: season schedule, quality of teams competition, smaller schools versus larger school competition, head-to-head competition, and records against any common opponents within your regional. You will not see your own team in the ranking step. You may rank and unrank until the deadline of February 16th for 7th grade and February 23rd for 8th grade. Prior to the state series, changes may be made to your regional entry form until your first level of contest. You must notify the regional host of any changes that you have made after the regional entry form deadline has passed. It's recommended you submit these changes in writing to your host. Make sure that you know the location and times for all state series contests. Make sure you have a cell phone number for your host school before entering into regional play. Additionally, make sure your host has a cell phone for you in case there are any changes due to weather. If your team should win the regional tournament, you will need to submit a team picture and cut line to the IESA through the Volleyball Entry Center. If your team should win their sectional, the IESA will email all state tournament information to your school's main contact person. Make sure the person's emails are correct in our system, and you should make sure that they forward these emails to you if you are the volleyball coach. In addition, your fans may find information for the state tournament in the IESA website Fan Zone. All state tournament information may be accessed from the IESA website. Make sure that you submit ratings for each of your state series contest officials, as well as sportsmanship ratings for the teams you have participated against. All NFHS rule changes are available on the IESA activity update. Here are several that I'd like to bring to your attention. Hair devices worn in the hair on the head shall be no more than 3 inches in width. A tossed ball for serve contacting a backboard in a vertical position is now considered a fault. A request for a third timeout is an unnecessary delay and penalized accordingly. The first offense for an unnecessary delay penalty is a warning and an administrative yellow card, and the head coach may still stand. For subsequent delays, an administrative red card with loss of rally point are awarded to the opponent, excuse me. Many of you might have purchased new uniforms last year to meet the NFHS's new requirement. For those of you still working on this, either the libero or its teammates must be in a solid colored uniform top. Basically, this means that you do not have to buy all new uniforms for your volleyball team. If your volleyball team has a non-solid colored top, all you simply have to do is buy 1 or 2 solid colored tops that meet the Federation rule standards for your liberos. A presentation again is available on the volleyball page of the IESA website, and it highlights the NFHS 2016 uniform requirements. The main highlights for this rule are that it must be a contrasting color to the team top. The piping and trim placed must be on a functional seam and no wider than 1 inch. There can be no design and no sublimation on the solid colored uniform. The school name, team name, player name, and mascot name may be placed on the top, but must not destroy the integrity of a solid colored jersey. For those of you unfamiliar with the Libero Tracker position, we added the Libero position in 2016, and here are some of the key points for the tracker that tracks the libero going in and out of the match. Per NFHS rule, the tracker may not be the official scorer. So in regular season, you have to have a minimum of 2 people sitting at your score table. 1 to do the libero tracking and possibly the scoreboard, and 1 to do the official scoring. There are instructions and blank libero tracker control sheets available on the IESA girls volleyball page. In regular season, as well as state series, the host school is required to provide the Libero Tracker. In the state series, the host who supplies the Libero Tracker, the tracker must be a minimum age of 17. In the state series, you additionally must have 3 individuals at your table, 1 person to serve as the Libero Tracker, 1 to serve as the official scorer, and 1 to serve as the scoreboard operator. Thank you for viewing the 2016 IESA Volleyball Rules presentation. If you have any questions concerning volleyball, the activity of volleyball, please email me at julie@iesa.org. Good luck this school year, and if you again have any questions, call or email me.